Guys who currently seem to be available include former first-round pick for the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy, another Broncos receiver, KJ Hamler, Jets receiver, Denzel Mims, Steelers receiver, Chase Claypool. Wait, no, not that last one. Please, God, not that. Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm Kyle Phelps, and yep, we're gonna have that discussion. But before we jump into talking about the pros and cons of bringing back future Hall of Famer AJ Green at this point in his career, I just want to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It'll help my channel grow, and we're only 3 subscribers away from hitting 200 right now. It'll also help you know when I put out all of my content, like these random unscheduled videos that I'll do when, big news happens like this. So, as pretty much all of you know at this point, I'd imagine, star Bengals wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a hip fracture that he sustained against the Atlanta Falcons. It's actually really lucky that the injury didn't require surgery and pretty much end his season. So, in the meantime, the Bengals are going to have a relatively softer schedule with the Panthers, Browns, Steelers, and a bye week coming up over the next 4 weeks. In 5 weeks, they play the Titans, who also look fairly beatable, despite currently leading a very bad AFC South. My biggest concern is, can he be back in 6 weeks when we play the Kansas City Chiefs? That would be huge, because if the Bengals can fully turn their season around and win these next 4 games, they could find themselves in legitimate contention for the number 1 seed in the AFC. It helps that they play both the Chiefs and the Bills this year, so they have an opportunity to get one up on both of them. That said, we're going to need all of our firepower to take down teams like that, so if Chase is in fact out for a full 6 weeks, he'd probably miss the Kansas City game, and that could screw up the Bengals' chances to get a bye week in the playoffs. And, of course, a bye week could be a huge advantage for this Bengals team that's definitely sustaining a lot more injuries than they did last season, which you could probably make the argument is part of why they made that Super Bowl run. But we already broke down how I feel about how big of a deal Ja'Marr Chase's absence is going to be. If you want to see that video, which was filmed live and included my immediate unfiltered reaction to hearing the news within the last hour, you can check that one out right here. But today, let's talk about what the Bengals can do to manage the pain a little bit. Interestingly enough, this injury just happened to show up right before the NFL trade deadline, which is Tuesday at 4 p.m., so everybody and their mother has been throwing around names for them to pick up because it seems to be everybody's favorite activity when it seems like there's some sort of issue at a particular position group. Is like, go get this guy, go get this guy. That's everybody's solution, right? The main name that I've been hearing thrown around from both Bengals fans and also, national people is former Bengals and current Cardinals wide receiver AJ Green. Why? Well, I think that should be pretty obvious. He arguably put together a Hall of Fame career in Cincinnati in the last decade. Not to mention, he fits best in that X role that Ja'Marr Chase is leaving vacant. And he already has some familiarity with Joe Burrow as they played together in Joe's rookie season. And he seems to be available in Arizona because he's buried behind guys like DeAndre Hopkins, the newly acquired Robbie Anderson, and Rondale Moore. Marquise Brown went down, and you're thinking, oh, well, maybe AJ will get some more touches, and they're like, no, we're going to go trade for Robbie Anderson. I also imagine the Cardinals would be willing to part with AJ for nothing more than recouping the cost of the Robbie Anderson trade, which was only a 6th and 7th round pick, so the Bengals could acquire AJ Green relatively cheap. It's not like he's exactly been bolstering his trade value this season with the second most routes among Cardinals receivers this season, yet he ranks 348th in the nation among all pass catchers in terms of PFF grade. The other thing that would concern me about bringing AJ Green in is the reason that he left. It wasn't like this big, huge blowout like the Bengals have had with some pass players like Corey Dillon, Carson Palmer, Carlos Dunlap, just to name a few. But you could tell AJ Green was frustrated and did not buy into Zach Taylor's system when he's here. In fact, my most recent memory of AJ Green is of him clearly saying, "If you're not going to use me, trade me," to receivers coach Troy Walters. Now, I will say, it would be so cool to see a guy who made a Hall of Fame career for himself come back and possibly win a Super Bowl in Cincinnati. From a sentimental perspective, that would just be awesome. I just don't know if AJ Green at this stage in his career would be able to fill anything more than a lightly used backup role, and I don't know if he would fit in with this locker room very well because, just of how things ended. I do think that the Bengals should probably make a trade before the deadline, though, just to give Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Hayden Hurst some backup. Guys who currently seem to be available include former first-round pick for the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy, another Broncos receiver, KJ Hamler, Jets receiver, Denzel Mims, Steelers receiver, Chase Claypool. Wait, no, not that last one. Please, God, not that. Now, out of all those guys I mentioned, Denzel Mims is probably the best fit. He's young, and he's probably not expecting a huge role anywhere that he goes after getting buried on the Jets' depth chart so far. But he is suited to being an outside target who can, break these cool runs and stuff like that with a ridiculous catch radius. He's also suited to being a great red zone threat, which the Bengals could really use even after Chase comes back. So don't get me wrong, I love AJ Green, and I wish things had ended better with him. If it seemed likely, I'd love to see him come back and finish off his legacy in Cincinnati with a bang. Unfortunately, I just don't see it in this stage of his career. I think there are better options out there that you could still get for relatively cheap. Like I said, Mims. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will feature the best ones in my next video, like this one from Angie Barker. Hey, Angie! Who said, "This stinks. Others need to step up," on my Jamar Chase reaction video. And yeah, Angie, I think that's a bigger deal than anybody that the Bengals could potentially go get out on the trade market. Which is part of why I don't think bringing back AJ Green is super necessary. But I know a lot of Bengals fans are daydreaming about it, so I figured we could address it anyway. And you know what? We'll see what happens by 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Maybe the Bengals do decide to bring him back. But until then, y'all can always find more of what I do at Kyle Phelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Phelps, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, ATBnetwork.com, and right here if you subscribe. But that's all I got for this one, guys. I really do think they're going to be okay because they've still got Joe Burrow, and that's the most important thing. So I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!